stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good afternoon, everybody. You having a good day? I am. I like it when I'm in a good mood. It isn't so much that I'm in a good mood. I'm relieved. And sorry, the cats are playing with the actual internet cord. So, for 2.5 years, I've been working on something. Before we get to that, if you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. And of course, welcome to the Daily Trudge. I don't know if this is really a trudge as much it is okay. So when I was 2.5 years sober, I applied at detox. Sawyer. And I was declined the job because I did not have a bachelor's degree. Man, that number went down. Doesn't matter. It's still going to come out the same. So, wow, down to 0. That number is never right anyway. Just lay down. So, what is recovery equity? Recovery equity means that everybody gets the same chance. Everybody. That when you come into recovery, it doesn't matter who you are, where you came from. In other words, I'm going to put someone that is homeless in the same treatment center as someone who is rich. That's equity. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't. I don't care how much money you have. Alcohol don't care how much money you have. Addiction don't care how much money you have. All right. So recovery equity comes from the people that work in the field. And wow, my camera is like way off. You guys, I'll be gone. The screen will be gone, but I'm still here. And that comes from the people that work in it, because the people that provide the service, right? Right. So I went to work for a company. So I told you about I applied at Detox. And from that point on, I started to make these discoveries. And I started doing a lot of digging. And what I found was that the people working in detox were not in recovery. And that actually answered a ton of questions for me. Because I came back into AA, and gosh, the rooms are small. They're small, man. I'm used to standing room only. That's what I'm used to, even at a midnight meeting. Yes, midnight meetings. I used to be able to do those when I was younger. Now I can't stay up for them. But so really the only course at that point, because I didn't have the resources and everything that I needed to make changes yet. So I looked into a couple of things, and what had actually happened is, because of this, some other people in the area were like, "Hey, Dion, you're really great. You should become a recovery coach. Go over here, get your training, come work for us." I'm like, howdy doody, man. Let's do this. Let's do it. Right? And I went to work for a company. It doesn't matter which company it is, because it just doesn't. But they wanted me to start doing some things that I wasn't willing to do. Well, number one, my complaint to them was I don't have any clients. I have no clients. And if I come to work for you, you best be providing the clients. It didn't say anywhere in my job description. Now, that isn't granted. You could go get your own clients, sure. But see, what they did is they set it up so that you were an independent contractor. Doesn't matter if you fell on your face or not. Then I went back and I took a look at their contract between me and them. And I have dealt with a lot of contracts. Okay? I know them very well. And there's one thing in a contract you can always, if you see it in a contract, what it'll say is, if you leave, you cannot work in this field for 2 years. You cannot do that. That is not legal. And that was proven in a federal courtroom in Houston, Texas. And I know because I was sitting there arguing over that one point. And we were right. And they lost for $7 million. So, yes, I think I know my contracts pretty well. And I brought up to them, I said, you cut and paste this contract, didn't you? Yeah. I'm not going to get into the personal issues that were there, but let's just say I will never work for a husband-wife team again because the husband always gets fucking jealous. Always. All right? And it wasn't and the way they let me go was disgusting. I was gaslit. Suddenly I was excommunicated. And everybody started with the shit talk. What do you think I've been doing the last 2.5 years? I've been working. I have been doing a lot more than I come on here and talk about because I don't feel like bragging. Okay? I'd say the biggest accomplishment I've had in the last few years is getting peer support specialists back in detox. My camera's off again. So what I decided that I was going to do is I was like, I can do one of two things. I can either fight them or I can move on. And I wasn't happy with either one of those. So I contacted the Attorney General and I put in a complaint. And now there's an open case on a lot of recovery coaches and the companies here in Colorado. And now things are really going to change. So I knew that since these people were committing Medicaid fraud, and that's what happened, is I got to go back a little bit. I was saying that I didn't have any clients. And one day they gave me a call and they said, hey, can you take over the phones because so-and-so has too many clients? And I said, no. I don't work for fucking free. All right. Some shit. And they knew that I had caught this. So they gaslit me, excommunicated me, and they thought that this would work. But don't you ever underestimate me on that shit, man. No. But tell you, I am not okay with bullies. And they don't do shit around me. I don't even see these people's names anymore. I just got phone with somebody else. They're like, yeah, no, you don't work at that company. I told you guys all this shit 3 years ago. And in that time, more people have died. More Medicaid fraud has happened. And it continues on yet. People are like, oh, that's not happening in Colorado. What? And even the Attorney General office sees it. Right? When you pull Medicaid fraud, that is a federal offense. And I'll tell you what happened. I will bring up this. Continuum of Colorado had a chargeback of $87,000 because they were not paying somebody because they were hurt or because the popular people were making noise. And this person got in trouble. And they said, no more Medicaid for you. Okay. What did he do? He went and hooked up with another company. Okay. I have booted more people off of my Facebook because of this shit. And so I have been treated extremely poorly by other people. Okay. And no, that's not my paranoia. It's happening. And there's even more talk now that everybody knows I'm going to work at Aurora Mental Health. I did all of this intentionally. So I reached out. The first thing that I did is I reached out to the Aurora Police Department, and I started a relationship with them. Then last year, I started talking to this guy named Dustin Zvonek. Now it turns out that he's the head of the city council in Aurora, and we talk frequently. I also talk to the director of Aurora Mental Health on a regular basis, the AG's office. These are all places that if you are not providing recovery equity, if you are doing something wrong, you cannot go to because they will figure it out. Now everybody's figuring it out. So instead of just waiting for all of this to happen, I started setting things up in Colorado so that when it did happen, you wouldn't even notice a difference. And guess what, Colorado? You never even noticed. That is recovery equity. That means if you come to me, I will use the same resources for you that I would for anybody else. Now I'm going to work as a peer support specialist. Part of what I'm going to be doing is working with homeless. I've got a really, really, really nice place for them to go. It's up in Evergreen, up in the mountains. It's beautiful. It is run by peers. It is a 12-step based program. And they reintegrate people back into society. $7,500. That is freaking unheard of. Treatment for under $10,000, and they still have all the right people there. The nurses, social workers, right? They have those people there. Well, I get to work with city money, especially now that I am hired by an entity, is what we call it. And it's one of the bigger entities here. And now I have the backing of Aurora Mental Health. What they said, Dion, was, Dion, here's some of the things that they told me to do. They said, provide anchor, be emboldened. That's what they asked me to be. They want me to take the initiative. These are all things that I can do. I'm used to doing this stuff, taking initiative and talking to other people. Okay. But recovery equity isn't just about the people coming in. It is also about the people that work in the field. And that's where recovery coaching becomes dangerous. Yes, dangerous. Let's say you went into a sober living home, and since somebody had given you some money, you were required to do some certain things, right? One of those would be that you have to sit down with one of their recovery coaches. It's a requirement. Fair enough. I think that's fair. But what if you found out that your recovery coach had 3 months of sobriety? How would you feel about it then? See, when we go through it, 30 days, we're, oh man, that's a long time. No, it the fuck is not. It is in our world, but in the real world, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't. You need at least a year of sobriety, or you're just dangerous. Now, if it was just handing out resources, that would be great. But you don't even know how to get resources, let alone the correct resources. No, you're just going to go to where it's hot, to where the people are popular and the grass is green because you think that's the right way, but it's not. It's a trick. And these people kill other people in the name of God. I have to kind of switch up here. So I believe, and I truly believe this, and I know that I'm correct, that recovery equity works. And I know. See, I'm not coming up and saying, hey, we have a brand new way. And no, the wheel has been invented. I don't need to reinvent it. And this is just where I started. 164 pages, a great fucking start. But if you want more, you're gonna have to go get more. And you have to do it yourself. But go get it, man. And don't let anybody else tell you you're wrong. Listen to that intuition. Listen to it. It's probably correct. Very good chance that it's correct. If the person you are working with confuses you, that's not recovery. That's not recovery. Because this is what I believe. Your service work comes first. I have 4 sponsees right now, and I'm going to work, but I will take care of my sponsees first. Okay. And then I made a phone call right before this because I know that there's going to be times when I cannot put on my AA hat because I will be at work. So you know what I did? I went and got some people that are saying, yes, I'm willing to take a 12-step call from you. That's recovery equity. It would be inappropriate for me, actually, in that situation, to share my experience, strength, and hope. Kind of walking a line there, right? And we got to be careful of that kind of stuff. Because not only do I deal with anonymity, I deal with HIPAA. That means that anything you tell me stays right here. I have no reason for gossip or drama in my life. I don't. And when I see all these recovery coaches with nothing but drama going on, oh, they stole my laptop. Well, maybe you shouldn't have let them live with you. You can't do that, by the way. It is actually illegal to be a professional and give advice unless you are a therapist. Otherwise, it's not legal. But, we don't follow that stuff. So what is the root of the problem here? Control. See, everyone wants control and power, and there ain't none. It doesn't exist in this field. Because when you start pushing people around, that just makes you a bully. Right? So here's the danger of becoming a recovery coach before you have finished the 12 steps. Number 1, your recovery coach will come first, and then you will think you are better than people. Then you'll relapse. Because you did yourself a disservice. You got to finish steps first. I don't care if it's AA. I don't care if it's a church. I don't care if it's Celebrate Recovery. It doesn't matter. You still do the work. I prefer AA because I like the structure. Celebrate Recovery is all too over for me, crosstalk and and it's fun. Sure, it seems fun, but for me, I just get, it's too much for me. That doesn't mean it's too much for them. So let them have the recovery. Even as a sponsor, I will tell I was talking to my sponsee or one of my sponsees earlier, and I told him, you're 10 months. Look at all the work you've done. Look how far you've come. That was you, dude. That was you. It's so fun to get to that point. It's so fun to get to the point when he's like, I get it. I'm an alcoholic, so I would seek God. Chills, man. Chills. So what are we going to do from here? We're going to I'm going to keep creating recovery equity Tradition 8 is all about creating 12-step work, and that's what I've done is I've set myself up so that I can create 12-step work. Okay, that's going a little bit above and beyond. I enjoy doing this stuff. I like working at Detox. I like helping people and meeting them where they're at. I love doing it the right way because doing it the right way produces results. And I've watched thousands, hundreds of thousands of people try all these different ways, and none, not a one worked. We do this together or we perish alone. So do not tolerate the bullying. If you got it going on, reach out to me. There's certain things that you can do that are the right way. There are. You do not need to tolerate that bullshit in your meetings. It doesn't happen in mine. And if it did, I'm going to say something. I am. Because it's the group that comes first. That individual comes before me. It goes my recovery, God and other people, my family. That's how I work it. And guess what? It was these 12 steps and 12 traditions that let me get through all this bullshit over the last 2.5 years. Because for 6 months there, nobody talked to me. I would get blown off. Even if there's so many places that blew me off because of something that they heard. Well, now the shoe's on the other foot. And I'm going to tell you now, I won't abuse it. I can't. There's nothing to control. There's no power there. That's what makes AA so great. That's what makes God so great. Everybody is a child of God. You, me, and the people out there doing the bullshit. Right? Now, I can love other people, but that doesn't mean I have to tolerate things. I do tolerate some things, but not when it comes to the program. And you know me, I have a lot of fun. But there's a time to sit down and say, hey, we got to get through this shit, man. We got to get through it. I love you guys. Patricia, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. You know, I would have done this alone, but I'd rather not have. So thank you for being here. There are a couple other people here. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Now go out and get more recovery equity, man. Take sobriety by the balls and go. I love you guys. Peace out. And have